Hey everyone, welcome to the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're coming to you from the unseasonably warm Denver, Colorado. It's back up in the 80s right now.
I give it another week, and then it's going to be nightmare land.
This must be torture for you right now, Adrian.
It is hell.
It's too warm.
The friggin' ski resorts are open in the mountains, and it's
Friday?
80 degrees here in Denver. Yeah, they open on Friday. I had to go to work. Aunt talked me into going. Like, I was kind of hesitant. I was like, I don't know if it's going to be worth it. He's like, dude, it's totally going to be worth it. I was like, all right, I'll go. And then Thursday, my boss was like, we need you to come into work for a little bit. I was like, shit.
Got to make some gears.
Yep. So I didn't get to go snowboarding. But Aunt went. He said it was a bunch of fun. Said it was real fluffy, nice snow.
Fluffy, nice snow.
Had a good time. So I don't know when I'll actually get to go ride. Because I don't think I'll get to go next weekend.
Well, don't you pay like $2,000 a month for a cabin or something right now?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, sure. Something like that. I pay $200 a month for a condo.
When's that start?
That starts in November. So the first weekend of November, my dad's in town. The second weekend of November, I'm technically in on a Vegas trip, but I don't know if I'll be able to afford to actually go to Vegas for that one.
And you're still paying for this condo and not going to it.
Oh, it'll totally pay for itself over the course of the season, though.
Okay.
Even like I didn't go to it hardly at all in November of last year, and I still felt like I got my money's worth.
All right.
I end up paying essentially $1,000 for the condo, $1,200 because it's for 6 months.
Yeah.
And
God, you can snowboard for 6 months?
yeah,
Jesus.
I'll be snowboarding in April still.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why I'm not too worried about not getting a lot in November.
Okay.
I'll start to light it up in December, and then here in Colorado, February, March, and April are three of the best months for it. So.
Huh. As a non-skier snowboarder, that seems insane. But I guess that's why a lot of people live here.
Yep.
Yeah, probably.
And Ant's going to be going every single weekend for 6 months.
More or less.
For 3 to 4 days.
More or less.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
It's his life now.
So, I mean, you're giving him a little bit too much there.
It's like he'll have like one free weekend.
Well, no, because I know like last year he tried to hit 100 days on the mountain.
Wow.
And he didn't quite get it.
That's almost as many fouls as he got in Blood Bowl.
I don't remember how many days. I think I got over 20 days on the mountain, which is pretty nice. And I stayed at the condo probably double that.
Okay.
So probably 40 nights. And if you figure spending, anything much more than like $30 a night for a hotel or other lodging.
Yeah. I'm sure things are expensive up there.
Yeah. And I go more often because I have a place to stay. That's the other thing. So it helps me get more value out of my actual pass. Because my pass, costs like $250, $300, something like that. And so if I only go up there 3 times, then
Boom.
That sucks. But if I go up there, 20 times, then all of a sudden it's like, I didn't hardly pay anything to ride.
Nice. So. I will be spending that entire 6-month period playing Civilization 6.
There you go. Megan's been really enjoying it. I started it up, but I played just a few turns. It's different.
I like it.
Scary.
I like it a lot. I like it way good.
Way good.
Me like good. I think other things are going to have to fall off so I can get more Civilization in.
Yeah.
So this is Jeff's last podcast.
This is my announcement of my retirement.
My initial feelings on it are very positive. I definitely want to play it some more. So,
Did you get to districts?
Just barely. I didn't actually build any.
Okay, so that's how you need like each district. Well, you don't need, but that's how you get like buildings. Like you don't get military buildings until you build the military district,
right? Which
I find incredibly awesome.
Yeah, the barbarians are way harder,
which is nice. I'm glad.
Yeah, they were stomping me pretty good. I like a lot of the different mechanics they added in, like the way that you build roads by trading. I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I really liked being able to automate my workers, and now you have to individually control your workers and their upgrades. Mm-hmm. But all of their upgrades just take 1 turn.
Yes.
Which is nice. But they also only can do 3 upgrades.
Yeah, so they're more like the missionaries and stuff in Civ 5, which I like. I also like that the city-states work based on emissaries.
I like the new city-state system a lot more instead of having to like send favor and stuff.
Yeah, just basically pay them a bunch of money over and over and over again. Yep. And this way, there's other ways to really work it. And yeah.
Like have this look, but the other one was like have vape your own government with different stuff. And then you can kind of shape into different molds of government that give you more options.
Yeah. I like that essentially everything now you research more. Like, so civics, you research towards like getting different civic unlocks.
It's not just culture.
Yeah. No, initial reactions are very positive. Megan's been really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to playing it more.
I love the new art style.
Zach's staring off into space.
I'm just in standby mode until you guys
Are
finish.
done talking about Civilization.
Yeah. I think I played 4 for half an hour, and then I was like, no.
I played a lot of 4 because there was a really cool total conversion mod that was like a heaven versus hell. I can't remember. It was Fallen
cool.
Earth or Fallen. I don't remember. Something Fallen. I played a shit ton of that total conversion mod because it was completely different.
I used to really like playing on Civ 4. You could start a new game, and then you could immediately open up the map editor for the game you were currently
Yes.
playing, and then move every other civilization off of your continent so that you had an entire continent to yourself, and then go back to playing. And then if you were like, I don't really have any oil on this continent, you better add some.
It's a cheat
Yes.
mode. That's what I'm
Yes.
hearing.
There is a cheat mode in Civ 6. I haven't turned it on yet, but they definitely say turns off achievements.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I would hope so.
Yes.
But I've been enjoying it. I've also been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption because the announcement for Red
Oh my
Dead Redemption
God.
2 came out, and so I was like, well, I
You
guess I got
watched
to go
the
back and
teaser
play.
trailer for it?
Oh yeah, looks real good.
There is no way that game's going to look that good when it comes out.
No, okay. So from what I was reading, those were from PS4.
Okay.
So
Well,
we'll see. I know.
They say that every time.
I know.
You know, but Rockstar's one of the few
Yeah.
that I feel like their
If you
trailers.
compare Grand Theft Auto 5's first trailer to what actually came out, people did screen by screen comparisons, and they're way off. You can get it on PC, but that didn't release when it came out.
Yeah.
So I will absolutely buy it.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking awesome. I love
Yeah.
that game, but there's no way that game's going to look that good.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It'll still look,
I've been disappointed too many times. Damn
Yeah.
it!
it's still probably gonna look real good.
Yeah.
So
All I know is that Red Dead Redemption is still giving me one of my favorite moments in my game.
Uh,
When I was playing it my second time.
Yeah.
So the first time I played it, I didn't give a shit about my horse. I was just like, whatever horse I found, oh sweet, I do like cars in Grand Theft Auto. Second time I played it, I was just like, you know what? I want this to be my horse. I want it to last for the entire time, the entire campaign. And then so about 4 hours into the game, I just come up across this random event of someone trying to hang somebody, and I jumped off and then went into Deadeye to attempt to kill everybody. And apparently my horse walked right in front of somebody when I did that, and I shot him in the face. And then so I killed everybody and the person that I was trying to save in anger.
Because they made you shoot your own horse.
Yes.
I am also playing where I really try and keep the same horse, which has caused me to reload multiple times because I'll be riding along and out of nowhere, I have gotten blasted by a cougar like 3 times and they instant kill the horse,
I've had that happen once.
which is shenanigans.
Yeah.
Cougars wouldn't instant
Have you
kill
gone
the horse.
mano a against a bear yet?
No. I haven't even seen a bear yet.
There's that gully that comes out of nowhere. It's only like 10, 12 feet across, but it's just real deep and real sudden. I've lost multiple horses in that before.
Nice.
And I did that during the undead version before.
that one
and I
was
had
good.
I had to just run through because it's just filled with zombies. I just had to run out to be able to get another horse.
Yeah.
That was a pain.
Yeah.
Because the horse would come, but it would try and be like up above me, which I couldn't get to.
Yeah.
That was annoying.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But,
a good game.
So I've been doing a little bit of video gaming lately. We did a little bit of board gaming today. We're recording on a Sunday because I get to go to the Broncos game tomorrow. So it's messing up all of our schedule.
No one cares.
But I'm sure some people care.
I don't know.
Nobody in this room.
Yeah.
But no, that's fair. So today, before we recorded, we were out at a new local board game convention, BCon.
I think
First
it was
year?
their first year.
Yeah, it was our first year. It's hosted by Mr. B Games. They had a few games out. They had more than I thought.
Yeah. And
They
it looks
published.
like they had an AEG rep that had some games to, and then there were like 2. I think Mr. B and then Wizard's Chess was there selling games too.
Yeah, and I think
Oh,
somebody else
okay.
was
Yeah.
also there selling games. But yeah,
There was the used game guy.
Yeah.
I got a used copy of Blood Bowl. So now I
Yeah.
own 2 copies of Blood Bowl.
There you go.
And I now have a complete version of Blood Bowl combining my 2 copies now.
there you go.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I have original dice now.
Ooh.
Yeah. You're only allowed to play in tournaments with that original dice.
Oh, like official tournaments.
Yes, only of the official original Blood Bowl dice. You're not allowed to bring any of your custom or anything.
Well, that's. I
mean, I
I
understand it,
understand,
but-
but it sucks.
Yeah.
They also had some convention style games there. They had that pod racing one from the local guy.
It seemed like people were having a lot of fun playing that.
Yep.
Yeah, every time I've seen someone play it, they all enjoy
Yelling
it.
and screaming.
Somebody
it
had,
has like a lot of betting to it too.
yeah,
So.
somebody had a ridiculously big setup for X-Wing, which looked really fun.
And, for that
X-Wing
one,
minigame.
apparently it was Rebels versus Alliance for their stuff. So.
Okay.
Sorry, Rebels versus Empire.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes more sense. Yeah, they were playing an epic scale game. They didn't have any of the big capital ships, but they had, I think it was 3-on-3.
Yeah.
Probably with at least 100 points each. They
Had
had
some
some
nice
of the
asteroids too.
yeah, they had some of the medium size.
Ships.
Yeah,
Like,
the Imperial one that is kind of big, but not super big.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know which one it was, but I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, everyone does, of course,
Yes.
by my
Yeah.
vague descriptions. I'm really looking forward. I guess they're going to release a campaign for Armada.
They are. Yes, the Carillion conflict. I
That
think it was
seems
called.
interesting for
Yeah.
that kind of game.
Yes.
Because as a game in general, it's not doing as well as X-Wing, I guess.
No, I don't know. It's a different game.
Yeah,
I know for
X-Wing's
some
huge.
Yeah, I think it's because it can be a lot more competitive. Mainly just also the amount of ships too.
Yeah,
I know, like for Tom Vassell, Armada has supplanted X-Wing. So
I like the bigger scale.
Yeah.
But it's also a lot bigger price point.
and it's more complicated too.
Yeah.
So
But a campaign for that seems cool. Like if you and a
does.
friend had the stuff just to play through a campaign.
I like looking at, would never actually play it, but I like looking at the fan made things where you basically play out with all three games. You do like Armada for
Oh,
big
God.
ship by ship, and then you do X-Wing for the more intimate combat, and then you do, I think, like Imperial Assault for the ground force battles.
that's like playing Game of Thrones, but then every time people fight, you open up that Battle of Westeros game. It's like minis.
Oh God, I'd rather just play Total War Warhammer. That's what it is.
Yep.
And it's awesome.
But yeah, so we did that today. I bought a 2-day pass, but I didn't go on Saturday because nobody else was there. that
I was
knew.
busy the entire day, so
Ant
As was
bailed.
I.
He wanted to go play Pandemic, but there was definitely
Not
no
enough
room
room.
for Pandemic.
No.
Not even in the hallway.
No.
Nope.
So we'll have to be on the ball and try and register that for Genghis Khan or Conclave of Gamers.
Yeah.
yeah, those aren't until next year.
No, unfortunately not. So probably won't get another play of Pandemic in this
No.
year.
Well,
Well,
unless we go to Barrel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Barrel has room.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could do it at a regular game night,
and then always could just play regular Pandemic too.
but that's not nearly as fun.
But I can't sweat to death in a suit.
No, you can still wear that suit if you want.
Okay. I've never played the Bioterrorist expansion for that game.
It turns it into a hidden. It turns it into something like Fury of Dracula and stuff.
I'd like to
so.
play with the bioterrorist thing, but have just everybody knows he's the bioterrorist, and he's wearing the bioterrorist
Yep.
suit while we're all playing.
I wonder who's the bioterrorist.
Although it's not a hidden role one,
No.
like you know who the bioterrorist.
No,
is
I
at
mean
the
it was
start,
not hidden
right?
role, hidden movement is what I meant.
okay.
Like Fury of Dracula, and then that one you only want to play with 4 people total.
Right.
You don't want because they do something in between everybody else's moves. So
Gotcha.
playing with 4 regular people plus it makes it too easy for the bioterrorist.
Okay.
So
That makes sense.
yeah.
Okay. But other than that, we did some game night stuff. Zach bailed on game night last week.
He would have
This
just.
didn't need to be mentioned.
He wasn't there. So, but
He was too
he,
furious to
he-
enjoy
yeah.
game night.
he
Yeah,
missed
it was
out.
way too fast as well. It was just
He missed out though because Widow's Walk just started showing up in local board game stores and getting delivered to people like last week.
Betrayal at the house on the haunted hill.
No, just
Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Yeah.
House on the hill. Okay.
at the house on the hill.
Yep. Betrayal
Yeah.
at the House on the Hill. Yeah, I just sort of
on the
muddled
Hill.
my words.
But anyway, and then Widow's Walk.
Thanks
the new
for pointing it
expansion.
out, Adrian.
Yeah, well, gotta do what I can. The expansion released, and so there were 5 copies, and at 1.4 consecutive games.
Yep.
at game
4
night.
consecutive games with all different people, and then I think the 5th game also didn't involve anyone that was in any of those other 4 games.
And
That's
not
ridiculous.
not 4 consecutive games, 4
Concurrent?
simultaneous. Concurrent was the word I was actually looking for.
Yeah.
And then a 5th one after
Who's
the
talking
fact
bad
that-
now?
Whatever. But yeah, so
Lots.
there was a lot of betrayal happening.
I've only played Betrayal maybe once or twice. before.
Oh, I played it a bunch. It's one of Megan's favorite games.
It's a good game.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
I played it a lot.
lot
It's one of the mini games that I introduced game night to.
Yeah.
It's a lot shorter than I expect.
Well,
it
sometimes.
can take
Ours
a while.
was way long.
Yeah.
It was Megan and I teaching 4 new players. And then like one of the girls who was playing with us, she even had to be like, hey guys, I'm really sorry. I hate to do this. Like, I have to go. It's been like 3 hours. Just like, no, this is like an abnormally long game of Betrayal. That's understandable. We can just play your character. And then the game ended like the next turn.
Oh.
So it didn't even really matter.
No.
Well,
Did you enjoy it?
Ours was very awesome. I mean, I think they're all pretty different, but the one I did was very different. The Haunt.
yeah. See, and this is where like, you know, I know like Ant flips out about spoilers on this, and I know I've seen online some other people do too. I don't get what's a spoiler about telling you what the basic premise of a scenario is. Like there's
Because you don't know.
but you still don't know until you play it. Like,
I know,
then you
but
might be
it's
like,
still-
oh, I've heard about this one. You still don't know any of the details. They can still be like, oh, it's the one where the betrayer does this and the heroes do this without going into any of the details. So there's still, you won't.
There are people that don't want to watch any trailers for any movies because they don't want to be spoiled.
Because
on
people are
anything.
ridiculous these
No,
days
I-
about spoilers.
Yeah.
They're out of control. If it's not a major twist, then it doesn't matter.
That's your opinion.
Whatever.
I love those Star Wars trailers.
Spoilers are shenanigans.
That new Star Wars Rogue One trailer is real good.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Very excited for that.
I'm real excited. We'll probably go to the Alamo for that one.
Oh,
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we played a lot of Widow's Walk. And
Cry Havoc was there being played.
yes,
So I got to see-
actually got a seat on the table, which
yeah.
was nice.
Our game looks good.
Gonna hopefully try and cover
Component
that soon.
wise and gameplay wise.
Zach, you got Mechs vs. Minions.
I did. I got
Oh my god.
Yeah,
oh my god, that game.
that game. I got my copy on Friday or Thursday. I don't remember. One of those days, but it is a ginormous game.
Yeah, it's a little bit ridiculous.
When I saw on UPS that it was like 15.5 pounds. And I was like, how much of that weight is just the box? And like, no, none of that came from the package. Like to bring it was all
Right.
the game.
So I had not watched anything video wise about this game at all. And so you opened it up that first time and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You mentioned before, like the insert is better quality than most games.
Yeah.
No fucking joke.
Yeah, you when I said that, you're like, you're overselling it. No, it's fucking amazing. Yeah.
And then when that first came out, everyone was up in arms about like, ooh, $75. That's bullshit. That's way too expensive.
It's actually a goddamn steal at $75.
It is.
oh my
yeah.
god. Like that should be $150.
Yeah. I think that game is better quality, like component wise, than even like almost the Scythe one.
Yeah.
And that was probably pretty expensive with all that stuff. It's mainly because they are able to just be like, oh, we can just put down an order for 30,000 units.
Yeah, that really helps.
Riot
Yep, Riot
has
Games.
just so much money.
Fun fact: they can actually legitimately call themselves Riot Games now because they have made more than one game.
Has Riot only ever made League of Legends? They've never done anything else?
Apparently not,
Wow.
unless that anecdote that I heard from somebody else it was lying.
Well, I guess League of Legends makes them a little bit of money. So
More money than the entire board gaming industry. So
Jesus Christ.
all the pre-painted stuff in there were looking pretty good. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of campaign stuff that looks interesting. All the metal components are awesome.
yeah,
The inserts are amazing.
I love that
There's secret stuff in there.
Yeah, the lid of the insert parts like have details on them. It's not just clear plastic. It's clear plastic with all these like axes and stuff on them, and where you put the coins and the bottom, it shows just like a design of the coin on top, and then everything is made to be easily taken out. Everything has like finger holds
Yep.
to grab something, or it has little
Crevices.
that you can push down to be able to pick it up and stuff like that. It's just really well designed.
A lot of the minion spots hold different minions.
Yeah,
so
there's
like you don't
five
have
different.
to find the one.
Yeah, there's
exact spot
5
for-
different sculpts of them.
Poses.
Poses, and they all can fit in every space. So
Which I was testing out, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
What was the other? Oh, the board. Mm-hmm. With the like, it has like a matte finish, but it's got glossy spots for the little rune spots.
yeah, and the like the oil slicks and the lava flow and stuff like that. It looks really nice.
Yeah, that's a fine piece of board game.
Didn't get a
Yep.
chance to play it yet, but
I know, right?
Tomorrow.
I wanted
Tomorrow.
To, I wanted
Tomorrow.
to play. God damn it.
Ah, ha, ha.
Oh, you could just not go to the
Just not
Broncos
go to
game.
fucking football.
Get the fuck out of here.
Then don't
Go the fuck
fucking
away.
whine. Don't whine if you just don't want to do it. We're giving you the option.
No, I wanted to play it today, and it didn't happen today.
We got to play Blood Rage.
Yeah, because you didn't want to record and edit in one day on the same day.
Shocking.
Once again, it's your fault. So
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wanted to actually sleep Tuesday night.
I accept your apology.
It's going to get real stabby in here.
What did we play? Blood Rage and
Lords of Waterdeep.
Oh,
Lords of
yeah.
Waterdeep.
Yeah,
And I lost both. Was in last in one and not last in the other.
I
And I was
was
in last in one and not last in the other.
I think
Jeff and I just traded first for last and second
I
for
was
last in 2 games.
No, I was second and then third. I think
Yeah.
so. Better than both of you.
I've played quite a bit of Lords of Waterdeep. But
Megan crushed at Lords of Waterdeep.
fuck. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Also,
Greg,
Greg-
crushed at
Blood Rage.
Blood Rage.
I got lapped.
He had a really good starting hand for the Loki strategy and just
Crushed
it.
Yep.
Or rather got crushed, but which allowed him to
Be less crushed
exactly.
in victory points.
Yeah.
Because you go to Valhalla.
Yes.
And that's good.
Quests are important in that game.
Yeah, and I fucked up 3 quests on that first round. So that was 15 points and 3 upgrades.
Yeah.
Out the door. It was all of Megan's sea monsters and ships.
Yeah, you got to watch out for those.
Yeah. Fucking
They're
sea monsters.
pretty vicious.
Yeah.
Goddamn Loch Ness monster.
Yes.
About 350. But yeah, so that's what we've been up to gaming wise and life wise.
On to news.
Yes, news. What do we got?
Biggest news of the week, I think, is the Kickstarter from the Oatmeal and spiritual successor to Exploding Kittens.
Yep.
Bears versus Babies.
So this has happened to us a couple times, and it drives me nuts every time. So we record normally on Mondays, and we release on Wednesdays. This game came out like Tuesday.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's like, well, shit. Like right in that little interim, there's that little window where things can come out. Which I mean, I guess I've heard that the best day to launch your Kickstarter for some reason is a Tuesday. So all the
I can
really
see
good
that.
Kickstarters launch on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Which will always fuck us.
Well, in 5 days, they have gotten $1.42 million,
Mm-hmm.
38,000 backers, and that's insane. On a $10,000 goal, like
Yeah,
they didn't
it's-
know they were going to just blow it out of the water.
I'm pretty sure they just put it for a. We just need a goal, just 10,000. Like
Yeah.
bare minimum, if everyone decides to go, oh fuck this game.
If
we
the
need
world
10,000.
exploded,
yeah. From all those
except
kittens,
us.
all those kittens actually did explode the world. Then yeah,
Yep.
they might not get the 10,000.
The
otherwise.
minimum we
Yeah.
could make this game for $10,000.
Cool Mini or Not does the same thing too. So
Lowballs their goal because they know they're going to blow it out of the water.
yeah,
They still haven't updated this section down here. They got a section way at the bottom of this Kickstarter for stretch goals. And it says, hey, bet you were expecting stretch goals, achievements, and a party with more than 200,000 people like we did last time, weren't you? Well, good. Those things are coming. Stop being so pushy. It's been almost a week. I'm about to get pushy.
Coming soon. Yeah, it's making $1 billion. I pledged. Zach pledged.
I have not.
You were pledger like 47 or something like that.
yeah,
And then 2 seconds later, Jeff was like almost
165.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had constant updates from Zach over the next 15 minutes of like, all right,
it was like every 2 minutes. It was like, yeah, another 1,000 people started to back in.
it was like thousands a minute, which is insane.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
for
pretty
any
ridiculous.
game. Other news?
Other news.
Oh right, Mansions of Madness, that game that we like.
Yeah, we do like that game.
There's another expansion for it.
Shocker.
Yes.
That's not from like re-implementing
That's
the
not
first edition. And this is their first one that actually expands the game. But it's called Beyond the Threshold.
Okay.
I was supposed to release sometime next year, early, I believe. And I think it adds at least two more
Scenarios?
two more scenarios.
New minis and stuff?
Yes,
The
yeah,
Lurker at the Threshold, perhaps?
probably, yeah.
Was that the one that well, I guess you guys haven't played Arkham Horror. I remember in Arkham Horror there was one that sort of helped you more than it hurt you, but I can't remember which one that was.
I don't know.
It was the guy that ran all the Migos, because the Migos like drop weapons and stuff.
That's
when
true,
you-
they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like there's something sort of similar in that in Arkham or
Eldritch.
too, but
I'm
I
sure there
still
is.
need to play. I have not played that game in over a year, and I need to.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I have the base and none of the expansions, and I don't need to buy them because you have them all.
I have them all, and I have really nice dice too. I remember as soon as I bought Eldritch Horror, And like it comes with like 5 really small black dice. I was like, oh, this is not good at all. So I bought, you know how Arkham Horror had those sets of 5 dice? There's like green ones, there's red ones, blue ones, and white ones.
Yes.
So that have the Eldritch sign on them
Yeah.
for the successes. So I bought the bone ones, which are white for normal. I bought 2 sets of those. And I bought 2 sets of the cursed ones, which are the red, and then 2 sets of the blue ones, which are the blessed.
Yeah.
Because there are times, like I thought about buying one, but I hate wanting to roll more dice and you can't. So and I ended up spending $60-something on those dice.
Impressive.
Jesus.
I'm glad that I did, but I was like, fuck, this is rough.
A little ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's some money. I just need to do that with Terraforming Mars now.
Yes, you do.
There you go.
Just buy a bunch of dice.
New expansion.
Buy
Coming
a
soon.
bunch of Arkham Horror dice for it.
Oh, man. Speaking of expansions, the new Mystic Vale expansion's out. I want to get that. The sequel to Welcome to the Dungeon, Welcome Back to the Dungeon, is
Yep.
out and is supposedly really good.
But can't be played with the first one, right?
I don't know.
The warriors and stuff from the first one.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I remember being disappointed at that news.
I don't remember ever seeing that news.
Okay.
Thanks for sharing it, jerk. Or making it up if it's not true.
Yeah, making stuff up.
But I still want to pick it up.
Yeah.
And then there's another game that has an expansion that just came out that I own, and I'm like, well, great, I want that too. But I can't think of what it is, right?
Well, we have 2 pre-orders down for Feast for Odin.
Feast for Odin. Jeff and I both have pre-orders in for that. And then Jeff has a pre-order in for Great Western Trail.
Which I've been hearing better and better and greater and grander things about every time I read about it.
That was the guy who did Isle of Skye.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I figured Adrian would like that.
And Stronghold Games,
Well,
who
yes.
did Terraforming Mars.
I mean, they've done a bunch of stuff.
They've done a lot of really good things. Real big fan of Stronghold.
A lot of the Essen impressions are out there now.
Yep.
People are making their best of Essen lists, and
Yep.
a lot of games I've never even fucking heard of. Like Inis?
Oh, yeah.
INIS?
Yes. Who did it? Shut Up and Sit Down did a review of it that looks pretty interesting. It's like an
Okay.
area control game. So it has these cool looking tiles.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of news on that front if you go search it out from people who got to go to Essen this year.
Terraforming
Lucky
Mars
bastards.
was high on that list.
Yeah, it was huge there. Gil Hovis sold out of networks real quick.
Also in news, well, there's not much more news.
Nope. We're on to Kickstarters.
There's another Kickstarter out there,
A few.
Matt Leacock's Chariot Race, which is sort of published by not Z-Man,
No,
but he has designed it.
Yes. I mean, he doesn't do specifically Z-Man stuff. He just
That's where his,
tends to go with Pandemic, and that's where, yeah.
this is where his bread and butter
Yes.
is. That one has just crossed funding. It's got 12 days left. It's only a $10,000 goal. They're at like 10.8 now. I funded. It looked like a fun game.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with Matt Leacock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is basically for distribution for Canada and the U.S. Since it was actually some other publisher was releasing it at Essen, like it was just there. They didn't have to kickstart it, but for it to come over here, apparently they had to.
It's pretty cheap. Only like $24.
Yep.
Take a look.
Yeah. It will be too late for anybody listening to this, but hopefully you saw it. They have right here on the page for Chariot Race. Special announcement. Join Matt Leacock this Tuesday, October 25th, for a first time ever Reddit AMA on our board games.
Ooh, I should look into that.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
So hopefully, as you're listening to
tomorrow.
this, you looked into this. Yeah, no, it's not tomorrow. It's Tuesday. It would normally be tomorrow, but we're not recording on Monday.
Because of some asshole.
So when you listen to this, go and look for that AMA that's going to be there,
Yeah.
archived by about a day.
Yeah, see what he said.
Yes.
Yeah.
The SpaceX guy's doing one right now, too. Tesla
Wait.
guy?
Oh,
an
Elon
AMA?
Musk?
Yeah. He's doing one on SpaceX, our
Cool.
SpaceX.
Oh.
This very second.
Cool. Other Kickstarters?
Deep Madness.
Okay. Yes.
I just wanted to make sure you didn't pronounce it incorrectly.
Get the hell out of here.
It's not Beep Madness, Adrian.
Like you typed in. No, this one, I mean, it looks very Cool Minier Not-esque. It's from
Almost to a fault.
It's from Dimension Games.
It's their first game.
Yep.
This formula works.
And yeah, no, like if you look over, especially like on the actual campaign with the way they did their like stretch goals and
Yeah.
stuff and it looks like I'm looking through a Cool Minier not thing. Doesn't hurt that it's got a shit ton of minis apparently.
Looks to be, it's like based off of Lovecraftian horror, but like in a more modern time
Yeah.
and deep underwater. That's where, hence Deep Madness, right?
Yes.
I wonder if there's anything that really keeps Cthulhu games from going outside the like Prohibition era. Besides, that's when the stories were originally set.
I think that's entirely it.
I don't know, surface to air missiles, not as scary.
This is also true. But this one, it's inspired by Lovecraft's work, and currently they're saying it's got 26 stretch goals that are unlocked and 138 miniatures included.
Yeah.
As of recording time, that'll sure to go up over the next 20 days.
Yep.
I don't think I can do miniature Kickstarters anymore.
Yeah, I'm starting to be burned out on that.
Yeah, there's just so many.
It also just gets way too expensive. It's $100 for the base for the pledge to get
It
the
could
game.
have been $90 if had you known about it earlier and early birded it.
Well, and I'm amazed that there were 3,000 early birds.
It's pretty hefty.
I mean, cool mini or not, like
They
some of
do
theirs-
enough early birds where the early birds will cover their
Yes.
pledge.
Yep.
Wow.
That's their whole thing. If you're ever wondering why there are arbitrary numbers of early pledges on Cool Mini or Not, that's why.
That it is.
So
Well, the Deep Madness is well backed, 540 some percent. So you can't go wrong with that one.
Yep.
Yep. And then the one that I've been wanting to get to coming up here, because I think I'm going to have to pick this up, Medici is getting a card game implementation. So Rainier Knizia is back on the prowl or something. He's back to making games. It's been a little while since I feel like it's been a while since there was a Rainier Knizia game. So he's back.
What are some of his other games?
So he's designed a whole bunch of different games. I
certainly hope so.
I own Through the Desert, sitting there in the other room. Some other ones you might have heard of. Medici, obviously. We're talking about Medici, the card game. He did Medici. Tigris and Euphrates, which has a Apple implementation that's supposed to be pretty good. I don't know. Wasn't a huge hit for me. He did Raw back in 1999. And a bunch of other stuff.
The only one out of that list I think I've even heard of is Tigris and Euphrates.
So Tigris and Euphrates and Raw Fantasy Flight, like they did a new edition of it
okay.
that looks pretty nice.
Yeah. I'd heard of Medici. He also did a Lord of the Rings in 2000. Taj Mahal in 2000. A bunch of stuff.
Yep.
But
He's
now,
won a ton of awards. But he hadn't done anything for a little while. And now he's back with Medici, the card game.
all his Medici money ran out.
But it's only $25 to back, which I think is pretty freaking awesome. And it looks kind of cool. So it's got 11 days left. It is already fully backed. It's got 812 backers, 18,000 of its 6,000 goal.
Yep.
So it's also good to go. Go get on it. It's coming out from Grail Games. So but I think that about covers all of news and Kickstarter. Any other ones you want to sneak in there?
Exploding Kittens or Bears.
Bears versus Babies.
Bears versus babies. I was going to say man versus bears.
Nope.
Thinking man versus wild.
Right. Yeah, it's its own thing.
Because it has Bear Grylls in it.
It does.
Indeed.
No piss drinking here.
My brain got confused.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, so let's move on to this episode's review. This episode, we're going to switch over to a little bit lighter review than we've done for the last couple ones. We're going to be reviewing Quadropolis. Quadropolis is the 2016 release from designer Francois Gandon, and it's published by Days of Wonder here in the States. Zach, you want to give us a rules rundown on that?
I'll give it my best. So in this game, everybody's a bunch of city builders trying to build their own city. Everybody has their own personal 4x4 grid that you're going to be using to place tiles, and they have numbered rows and columns on the board. On your turn, you're going to take one of your 4 architects, which are also numbered 1 through 4, and you're going to place it next to a 5x5 grid in the center of the table. Then you're going to take a tile that many spaces away. So if you place the number 4 architect, you're going to take one 4 spaces away. Then you're going to gain any resources that you get from the tile. And then you're going to place it on your own player board in either the row or the column that matches that number. Once all 4 architects are played from each player, you're going to discard any remaining tiles from the center board, and then you're going to put out new tiles for the next round. After 4 rounds, the game ends. And to score tiles, they must have the required resources on them to activate them. And there are 6 different types of buildings. How they score depends on where they're placed. So you're going to add up your entire score, and then whoever has the highest wins.
Yep. So, surprisingly simple game overall, I feel.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed playing it. Like, it caught on the first time. It was one of those where, like, as you're first getting it out and setting it up and kind of going through it, you're like, wait, this doesn't really make sense. But then, like, you play, like, one turn, like, not even one full round.
Yeah.
Just one turn and around. You're like, oh, yeah, I've got this. As far as base playing, But I feel like it's one where multiple plays are going to help a lot as you start to really understand how the different tiles interact with each other and formulate more complex strategies. I think it's got a lot of room for strategic thinking.
So I do want to let listeners know one thing. If that sounded a little iffy on how I was describing it, is because that was the base game, how to play the base game, and we've only played with the advanced game.
Yeah.
Which
is a lot different.
This is a very highly rated game for families.
Yes.
We sort of skipped over that, which is the base version, I think, and went to the expert mode.
Which adds it adds 4 more spaces on your player board, and it adds drafting basically in the game.
Right. So instead, in the base game, the one Zach described the rules for, every player gets architects numbered 1 through 4. In the advanced version, there's just a stack of them labeled 1 through 5. And on your turn, you pick one from one of the available stacks and place it somewhere. So somebody might not get to place any ones if other people take them all before their turn.
And it definitely brings a lot more like critical thinking into it and a lot more planning. And then there's also a bunch of tiles that are just expert tiles.
Yeah, that only show up in the expert version.
Yeah.
The other thing that changes on your player board, besides getting the 4 additional tiles, they make up like a 5th district. The districts all get a number then also. So that when you buy a tile, if you buy a tile with your number 1 architect, you can place it in the number 1 spot in any of the 4 districts that have number 1 spots, or you can place it in the number 1 district on any of its spots.
Yes.
So it adds a little bit thicker layer of complexity there on being able to figure out what you can buy to place where.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm not sure if you mentioned in the rules, but there's a little bit of denial that you can do.
Yeah, so there's a token called the Urbanist.
Yes.
And basically, when you buy a tile, you then put the Urbanist on top of that empty space, and then no one can buy anything from
column or row.
That column or row.
Right.
Which can deny.
Well, yeah,
You can't place your
you can't place it
your
on that
architect
column or row.
on that column or row. You could, in theory, place like on the row below it a number in to buy something that was.
Yes, that is true. But it does have some denial, like you said. And then also, when you place those architects, it stays there.
And nobody else can place in that row or column.
Or where you place it, no one can put it there. So there's definitely been times where you place it somewhere and you are blocking off like 4 or 5 different tiles from someone being able to grab.
Yeah, especially like later in the round when a lot more of the numbers are used up and things are getting a little bit more filled in. It's like, well, the only way to get to this one tile, and like normally there'd be 4 options, top or bottom, left or right on the things. But later in the game, 3 of those might be taken. It might be like the only way to do this is to play a 4 on the right side. And if somebody blocks that from being a position, then you're just...
Or taking all the 4s or something like that. So, yeah.
I definitely do feel like if you're looking to play this game with, adults or regular gamers, you should definitely play the advanced rules.
Yeah, or anyone who's played more hobby games. Like anyone who's played Catan, or like anyone who's really done those, they could handle the advanced rules.
Yeah, like I said, pretty much any board gamer.
Yeah.
I feel like the rule book tries to scare you away from it a little bit too much. They're like... These are advanced rules. We highly recommend that you play with the base rules beforehand. And, I guess maybe if you're, again, it's kind of geared towards a family game. It's like ranked 20 in family games on Board Game Geek.
I've played Dominant Species. I think I can handle this.
Exactly.
I think I can handle the expert rules.
So we definitely recommend
Although
it.
It'd been great if they're like a 20 by 20 grid comes out and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Components.
They're pretty good.
I love the insert.
Yes,
the insert
an amazing
is really
insert
good
for it too.
Because it has spaces for the expert buildings. It had like the big slot for beginner. And then, do you want to play expert? Well, just haul this out and shuffle it into the deck.
Yes.
And then everything can just kind of go back to where it's supposed to go every time.
No, yeah, that is really nice. So the resources, there's oil. I think it's oil and then people. And those are nice little...
Energy and people.
Energy or people.
Yes.
There we go. And they're little plastic ones. They're definitely smaller than regular meeples.
Yeah.
But they look really nice. I think they work well for the game.
Vibrant colored.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, nice plastic material. The cardboard tiles for the buildings seem pretty solid.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't notice during any of our plays any issues with them like warping or peeling or anything like that. They looked real good.
And there's not a lot of information on there, but that's because you don't need much information.
No.
It's nice and clear. It's not cluttered. The top left is what you get when you take it, and then like the bottom right is what you have to power it.
Yep.
So it's really easy to see it. oh, it has 2 people and it needs an energy to power it. Good to know.
Yep. The player boards are pretty thin, floppy material, but
It's fine enough.
Still not
It's
as bad
good
as
enough.
Terraforming Mars.
It's true.
no, they didn't warp like Terraforming Mars did. But no, I think overall components are definitely solid.
Yeah.
Rules,
It's really easy to, to learn.
It's like one folded sheet is the rules, like front and back. There's not hardly
the
any
only
rules
problem
there.
was like I said, there's 6 different types of tiles, and how they score is very different. Government ones score different than skyscrapers, which score different than towers, or not towers, but like apartment buildings and parks and stuff. Like once you get those down, which luckily everybody has their own little cheat sheet for those.
Yep.
The one thing that was slightly confusing was harbors.
Yeah.
But you have to have one continuous line of, and depending how much you have, you get that many points. But you can it's not just your longest one. You can have a vertical and a horizontal, and then they will both score separately.
Yes.
But if you get that going, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
harbors can make
And
some-
skyscrapers are nice because it says like one continuous, but that means you can go through bends and stuff like that. They don't
Yeah.
have to be in one line also.
Yeah.
So,
It's all about placement.
yes.
Yeah. And that's one of the interesting things. Unlike some games like, say, Patchwork, where you're penalized when you have open spaces left on your board, this one doesn't penalize you for open spaces on your board.
It does penalize you for having more resources than required, though.
Yes, so if you have extra people, it's considered homelessness.
Yeah.
And is negative points. If you have extra energy tokens, they're little like red oil barrels, that's pollution.
Yeah.
And that's bad for your city also. So they do penalize you for excess of those, you're right. But I like, especially since some of the buildings score from stacking them, you know, I feel like it would have been unfair almost to have penalties for open space when some of the things like give you points for stacking.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And it's only a 4-round game. It's not that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It plays real quick. I think it's got some good strategy for how long it plays.
Definitely. And it has a lot of good, like, take that. No, I wouldn't say, like, necessarily take that, but denial can be huge in that, because there was one, you know, I looked at one spot, I'm like, I'm going to put this here, and then Adrian from the side, God damn it.
The first game we played, there was a lot of swearing on
Yeah.
my
What is
part.
this on the 1 to 10 scale of make Adrian mad?
Well, mad 1. It didn't make me mad. On the make Adrian swear when you block him scale, like an 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
He got up out of the chair, but he didn't then immediately bend down and slap the floor. So it's not, that's still the 10. So he brought up the scale. We just have to show what
At least we know what the 10 is.
Yeah, we know what the 10 is.
10 is floor slapping.
I have gotten dead last in every game we've played of Quadropolis. There's a lot of strategy to the game, and it can get kind of difficult sometimes.
Especially if someone else is doing the same thing that you are.
Yeah.
Getting a niche in this one definitely helps, I feel.
I think that it's one, especially with more and more plays, like I'm curious to see what kind of strategies evolve. Like both times I've played, I've went more for like one good line of seaports, a block of skyscrapers, and then just enough other things to power all that.
Right.
Like, you know, housing projects are good for getting lots of people without spending a lot of extra anything.
No,
So,
yeah, and then there's harbors that'll get you good energy and stuff like that.
Yeah. And so it'll be curious to see, like, I've never really done, there's like government buildings and the shopping malls, things like that. I've never really focused on those when I've played. I'm curious what other viable strategies will emerge with multiple playthroughs of this game.
But it seems like one where you don't want to change up your strategy about halfway through.
No.
Because, so I know when we played, you and, like, 3 people started going on skyscrapers, but it ended up just you and me were the ones that, especially because we were going back and forth with taking first player.
Yeah.
Basically just you and me. So it was definitely, we focused on that. And so, you know, Paul and Jeff, they just did other stuff.
Right.
So
I was more focused on like, oh shit, I have way too many fucking people. And then I learned like, oh, shopping malls. You can just stack 5 fucking people on a shopping mall because that's all they do. Just throw all your homeless into a shopping center and you're good to go.
Yeah. I've always found in practice that works best.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I really feel like Denver should build more shopping malls downtown. Help out. But, all right.
What's a Cherry Creek?
Yeah. Shopping
Yes.
mall, big shopping mall.
No
down
problem
there.
with homeless there.
No? Truly not.
Oh, God.
All right. So, final thoughts on Quadropolis?
It's a fantastic game.
It's a great
There's
game.
a reason it's
Yeah.
highly rated.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Don't play the basic.
Yeah,
Don't
you
play basic.
don't need to play the basic. Just do the advanced. It's it's like we said, it's not that difficult to get into, but there's definitely depth there.
Yeah.
It's a lot of placement and knowing where you have to place things well in advance and hoping someone doesn't take the one thing that's
Yeah.
not going to fuck you.
Which late game there could be a little bit of AP, especially like when you know you're down to like your last two selections, like trying to sit there and figure out which one is going to get me the most points. Like what is the most possible points I can
Because
get
you
on
can
these last
come
couple
at it
turns.
from 4 different directions.
Yeah.
Downtime is pretty nice too, or is pretty short.
Yeah, especially early rounds. No, I totally dig it.
Yeah.
It's relatively inexpensive game. I highly recommend
35
it.
You need to
bucks.
buy it, Adrian, so we can play it more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only like $35.
Yeah,
No. All right. Well, that's our review of Quadropolis. We all like it. Go get it.
short and easy.
Short and easy. Moving on here to our discussion of the day. Today we are going to talk a little bit about pacing in board games. What we mean by that is, one, how long the game takes to play, maybe at different player levels. You know, like some games are paced really well at 3, where the game plays reasonably.
Yeah.
But if you go to 4 or 5, the game becomes a slog. Also kind of going on about whether a game feels long versus how long it is. Like if it feel like if a 3-hour game feels like 3 hours, or if it's like you get done and you're like, wait, I've been playing for 3 hours.
Yeah,
What?
that feels great. Whereas like I've had hour and a half, or I've had an hour and a half game that was supposed to. It like feels like it should have been 45 minutes to 60 minutes, and then you're like after you're just like, God, that took forever.
Yeah. So, a game that does this really well, we feel we just reviewed it. Terraforming Mars, the pacing's excellent in that game.
Unless you sort
don't-
of fuck yourself.
You don't, well, unless you sort of fuck yourself. But overall, through most of our plays of that game, we didn't feel like how long the game took. It didn't feel like that long. Like
Yeah.
it took almost 3 hours every time, and it wasn't ever like, oh man, we've been playing a game for 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's like we finished and was like, all right, let's do that again.
I think a lot of it comes down to the player downtime, because you have a lot of different actions you can do, but each one of them is relatively quick. Because especially I remember watching you, Jeff. There are times like, oh, I'm just going to take this thing and put it on this card, and then move it to somewhere else, or raise oxygen. All right, it's my turn.
Yeah.
And then so I do something, and then maybe not even a minute later, Megan would, and then you would, and then because you're trying to think ahead, then you're like, oh, it's my turn again, and
Yeah.
so you feel like you are, and then also paying attention to what other people are doing, because you have cards that may be affected by that,
Right.
and so yeah,
Compared to like, we were playing Blood Rage today, and I'm pretty sure I saw the same look on Jeff's face that I was experiencing, where towards the end of a round when we'd both passed and people were still going around moving things and stuff, and even in
People with 12 rage still left over.
Yeah.
and
When I'm
and you just
gone.
and it's like, well, I don't even get to do anything on my turn at this point anymore, and so I'm just sitting here.
I mean,
with nothing to do for the next 5 to 10 minutes.
unless someone decides to pillage and you can react to that. Otherwise, yeah, I think part of that too is, even though it came with a 5th player expansion, I think 5 people is too much for that game.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
We played that once before with Pork Chop, your copy.
Yeah.
How many players did we play that
I'm gonna
time?
guess with 4.
Okay.
I tend to only play 3 or 4 with that.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah. So another game that I think does pacing really well that I finally gotten to play recently is Le Havre. Especially at like 3 players, there's not a lot of downtime between your turn while the other players are doing theirs. Kind of like a Terraforming Mars, like what other people do might affect you a little bit, so you kind of need to be paying attention.
but then again, you've only played it with 3 people, right?
Right.
You have how,
So
how
I'm
many
saying
people
at 3 people,
Yeah.
I think it's paced really well, especially because everybody gets at least 2 turns per round.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the problem with the higher play counts is you might only get 1 turn per round.
You can play up
and
to 4,
5.
5? Jesus
5,
Christ.
yeah.
That seems way too many.
Yeah. And so at 5, then essentially 2 people get to go twice in a round.
Yeah, that
And
seems.
everybody else only gets to go once that round.
I want to say that one's pretty well known to be like, don't play this with anything but 3.
I've heard 4 and 2 can both kind of be okay.
Yeah, but 3 is the best.
So I can't think of any games that are really egregiously bad with their pacing. I mean, I know there's some, but it's one of those like I end up falling into this with these kind of games. I don't like right now. I can't think of it, and I'll go to play a game like that, and I'll be like halfway through, be like, oh yeah, this is why I don't like to play this game.
And I think So when which pacing are you talking about in that regard?
More there's a lot of downtime and the game feels like it takes way longer than it actually.
That's what I've heard about Seafall, especially with 5 people. Like there was sometimes where it was like 40 minutes between somebody's turn.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it just comes down to if you don't have anything to do on anybody else's player or on their turn, and they have a lot of decisions or they have a very elaborate process on their turn. So one game that is I have noticed that is huge with pacing is Tales of the Arabian Nights.
Oh God, yeah, that's a good example. That's why I don't play that game anymore.
Yeah. Well, once again, I only play it with 3 people, maybe 4.
Right.
But I only play it with 3, so everybody's doing at least something on somebody's turn. And then especially because somebody's turn could be 2 minutes, someone's could be almost 10 minutes.
Right.
Because of all the different adventures that they can get into.
Yeah.
That it is a storytelling-esque game, so you're supposed to just listen to the story instead of actually like playing a game as much. But you can definitely notice it, especially with 6 people, when it's your turn, and then then you get to read the book, and then maybe you get to do the little graph thing. But then half the other time you're just doing nothing.
Yeah. Another kind of side of pacing too is like when a game ends, does it feel like the right time for it to end? So like Terraforming Mars, I think is one that does really well on that. Like I feel like when Terraforming Mars ends, it has always felt like an appropriate time for the game to end, compared to I know whenever I play like Race for the Galaxy or Roll for the Galaxy, those always I feel end like 1 or 2 turns sooner than I would like. Like I would like to go just a little bit longer. Like I feel like right when I get an engine going is when it ends.
Well, I think a lot of those too are if it's number of rounds versus like a race. So
Yeah.
Race for the Galaxy, but also Splendor, or there's any of those other ones that, if your engine isn't as well built as somebody else's, even when you finally feel like you've got yours built, they already had theirs built and they've been churning out those victory points. And so
Yeah. Even some of the ones I win though on Race and Roll, like I feel like I would want to play like 1 round or 2 rounds more when I could really start to pull in the points. But I can understand why they cut off when they do. And don't get me wrong, I love Race and Roll.
Yeah.
It's not really a critique of
I think you
them.
just really like engine building too.
I do like engine building. I don't know. Jeff, you've been awfully quiet through this discussion.
I just want to talk about Star Wars Rebellion.
Go for it.
Star Wars Rebellion, I think, has one of the greatest pacings in a 2-player game of all time.
Yeah, I know that's one of the things we talked about when we did our review of it, that it's another game where you play for like 3 to 4 hours and it doesn't feel like you played.
Not even
for
close.
Feel engaged almost the entire time.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's a 2-player game, so I mean, I could see how it could get a little worse at a 4-player version, but I've heard that those are not very good options to play that game in the first
and
place.
actually somebody on Board Game Geek a little while back, or on our board games, was telling me that it's actually really good at 4 players. Like if you, like it's actually surprisingly good at 4 players.
There
I
is.
feel it would just take longer.
I mean, they sort of split up how you do it, so it's still based on the amount of people, like the people you control. So, but it's just how, basically, if it's 2 Empire versus 1 Rebel, they get, each person gets 1/2 of those people. I have heard that one is pretty interesting, especially because as a Rebel, you're just sort of sitting here and you just see the Empire guys just like looking at each other, pointing at the board. Oh, I think you're just like, oh, what the fuck are they planning over there?
Yeah.
Of the 2 times I've played it, 1 and a quarter.
Yeah.
There was no time in that game I was like, I wish this would go faster.
Yeah.
I was just always wanting to be like, finish your fucking turn so I can murder you.
Yeah. No, I do agree. That is a really good, well-paced game.
Twilight Imperium?
Twilight Imperium, I think, is almost on the other end of it, though.
Yes.
Like
There's a little more
Imperium, and that's where Twilight Imperium struggles, is especially because I normally play with like 5, 6, 7 players.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot more opportunity for downtime between your turn. And there's enough room for people to AP on their turn, like to sit there and pour over all their options.
Especially newer people, too.
Yeah, especially newer people. And it's definitely one, like, it's an all-day affair, and it feels like I feel like I just played a big, long, heavy game. It's satisfying, but it's not like Terraform Mars or, like you said, Resistance, where you finish and you're like, oh, wow, wait, I've been playing a game for 4 hours? What?
I think at the very least, Twilight Imperium adds the the secondary strategies, so you can do stuff when it's not your turn at the very least. So
Yes, that helps.
yeah. And so it means you have to pay attention to what someone else is doing, because if they're doing the strategy that you wanted to do the secondary of and you aren't paying attention, it's come and gone, and then you're just like, oh shit, I meant to do that. wanted to get that tech, but I wasn't paying attention, so fuck.
Yep. Any other thoughts on pacing, guys?
Munchkin.
Munchkin's awful for pacing. But pretty much any game like that where you can just jump on the leader and hold them back, like where somebody has to get a certain amount of points to win, but other people can actively take points or prevent points, that can lead to some really gratuitous pacing issues.
So I know there are some games that have, like, so Twilight Imperium also has, it's the first to 10 points, but they also have the extended, you can play to 14 if you wanted to.
Right.
So there are some, games where it's, and I've even seen, I think some people, because I guess technically for Race for the Galaxy, you could always just add more points.
Yeah.
To take. So what do you feel about that? Where just are artificially lengthening the game. Have you ever done that?
I've never really done that. I've thought about it with like Race for the Galaxy, especially because like I feel like that's a game especially like 2-player with Megan is one where it really stands out. We already knocked that game out in 30 minutes. I wouldn't mind if it went to 45 or an hour, if it meant that I got to play a little bit more and do like a little bit bigger, better engine, but at the same time, I could see like it being one of those things where it ends right as your engine gets going because like, say you added 10 more points. Well, if both people have their engines kind of going, that's one more round. So then do you add 20 more points? Well, so then it goes 2 more. It'd be hard to find where to draw the line. And I don't know how it would affect balance overall. So I'd probably be hesitant to do it for games like that. That I really like. I could see doing it for like a all-day game like Twilight Imperium, where you're just like, hey, we're going to play just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would, especially for Race. I can't think of any other games that really play with that where I would consider.
What about the opposite way, where say they normally say play to this length, for a shorter game. So Dominant Species.
Yeah.
It says like 25 of those cards on the right. I don't even remember what they're called. I always play with 15. And then I always make sure to take out any of the ones that add action pawns to it, because it just dramatically lengthens the game more than I think it needs to.
Yeah, see, I guess I haven't played the full version of Dominant Species, and I haven't played enough even of the short version to say I would be interested. I feel like that would probably be one where I would rather play the long one. We were talking in our review for Terraforming Mars. I will almost always want to play with full drafting, full corp deck, full everything, because I think it adds enough to the game. I'd rather have a fuller game at a little bit longer time, as long as the pacing is good. And I think Terraform Mars has great pacing. Dominant Species, it's been so long since I played it, I can't remember. I don't remember ever really feeling like it had major pacing issues. It's a long game.
Yeah, I think for me it's also so at I definitely will sometimes half the length for Tales of the Arabian Nights as well.
Yeah.
Just because at some point, whether it goes 2 hours or 5 hours, like it's the same, like you're playing the same game. It's not evolving at all.
Right. And that's especially with Tales from the Arabian Nights. I can totally see that.
But yeah. So I think for me, I always try and sort of minimize that stagnation.
Yeah.
Like I'm fine with longer games as long as it feels like something was added for that length.
Okay.
That's why, like, the first time we played, the corporate era ones, it was like, I didn't feel like anything extra really got added, and it took longer. So that, for me, it's like, well, why do that extra length then?
Yeah. I disagree. But we've been through that.
No, I know. I'm saying. But Tales of the Arabian Nights is the same thing. They're especially, like, playing to 10, you can actually get a good amount of stuff going. And then playing from 10 to 20, or however much, maybe it's 15, like, because you can technically make it longer too. It's just like, then you're just still playing the same game, and you just don't want to get tired of it.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, we like games that are well-paced.
Shocking.
Very profound.
Controversial opinions. We like good pacing.
But no, I mean, it's something that definitely affects my enjoyment of games. And so it's something that I am try to be aware of, especially like when I try a new game and then I'm thinking about buying it, like I play somebody's copy. When I try and think like, how much am I really going to get to play this?
Yeah.
That's a big part of that is how do I feel that pacing is? Is it a game that is going to take too long, so I'll never get to play it because it just takes too long? Or is it a game that even though it takes long, people don't feel like it takes that long, so they'll be willing to play it more?
Yeah. So I'll give one final example,
Okay.
of something where you can actually sort of manipulate the deck. So Eldritch Horror, how you build like the Mythos deck, usually just says shuffle everything up. And then, because there's a variety of easy, medium, and hard, you can just shuffle them up. And because you're supposed to have like 2 or 3 different stages. So technically, if you wanted to make it to make it feel like you're actually having a ramp up in difficulty as well, you can put the easy ones in the beginning, the middle ones, the middle ones in the middle, and then the hard ones at the end. So as you're getting toward, you're like, oh god, this is getting a lot harder and harder, because it's supposed to feel like you're running out of time and stuff like that.
Arkham Horror has a ridiculous Mythos deck that you can kind of modify as well.
Right.
So there we go. Any last thoughts on pacing in games, guys? No.
Do it well.
Do it well.
Please.
No. Do it well. I don't know. We're not asking. Telling you.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that concludes our discussion of the day, and pretty much brings us towards the end of the episode here. We do have one last thing. Thought about throwing it in the news, decided to save it here for the end of the episode. Kind of a cool little thing. Jeff was unfortunately working this past Thursday, but Zach and I were free, and we got to go, and we had one of our listeners from Colorado Springs, Mike, was in town, and he wanted to get together with us, so we went out to one of our favorite breweries in town, Strange, had some beers, played some games with him, and that was
fun.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was nice getting to meet a listener.
Yeah, it was nice to meet someone that wasn't in our Denver gaming group. So
Yeah,
You see them all the time.
yeah.
But we played Stockpile.
Well, so me and him played Splendor, and my streak continues. I destroyed him. I think he had like
Welcome. You're about to lose this.
He had 15 points, or he had 5 points, and I had 16.
He's listened to the show. He had every opportunity
Yes.
to know how
Yeah.
bad, how good Zach was at Splendor. But then Megan and I got there because Zach was there first. Megan and I were finishing up dancing, and then we joined after our dancing class, and we played Stockpile, and I won in dramatic fashion thanks to Mike's help,
Yeah.
because he was Oprah, and Oprah's ability is that every turn she has to give, I think it was $2,000, which is just money to somebody else. And for most of the game, it seemed like I was behind, and so he kept giving me money every turn. So every turn for the 5 turns?
6
turns. He gave me 12,000 money over the course of the game,
and he was in second place.
and he
by
was in second
8,000.
place by 8,000. So if he hadn't given me any, he probably would have won.
Yeah. The second to last round really fucked me over. I made a huge bet that something was going to happen, and it didn't. Nope. So
Yeah.
I've yet to play Stockpile.
I actually really enjoyed my
Yeah.
playthrough of that. We should play some more of that
Yeah.
sometime soon. Maybe
Definitely.
review it.
yeah.
And then after Stockpile, we played another game of 4-player Imperial Settlers. And I think I like that game more and more every time I play it.
And you get more expansion for it. So I know at least 2 just add more cards.
Yeah.
And then there are a couple new factions too. So
And that's another one, kind of just doing a quick little callback to pacing. They talk about when you buy those ones, it says, yes, you now have 5 factions. You could play a 5-player game. It is not designed to be a 5-player game.
Yeah.
We don't recommend this.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it was cool getting to meet up with Mike. And hopefully, we're going to see him around a little bit more when he's
Right.
up in Denver. And if I'm ever down in the Springs, I got some family down that way. So probably get in touch with him.
Yeah,
See
definitely.
his gaming group. So
Maybe we'll have our own convention someday.
Yeah.
maybe.
So you hear that, people? You can actually hang out with us if you want to, and
If you're
we're
in Denver-
supposedly cool people.
If you're in Denver, get a hold of us.
Well, I guess we have our own Wednesday convention.
Yeah,
Mini
no, right.
convention.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do.
Yep.
So.
We did have one email.
We've got an
that
email.
I was just going to mention part of it.
Okay.
So it was from Chris.
Yes.
He's the one that gave us the idea for Kickstarter.
Right.
And so he goes, thanks for the Kickstarter discussion. Damn Zach and his laissez-faire, free market, level-headed views. And I appreciate Adrian's slow burn anger of the topic.
I was, was passionate.
Yep.
Passionate.
Mm-hmm.
Passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go ahead and read the
Okay.
whole email, because
Okay.
the next part's really good too,
All right.
I think.
Jeff, is your real name Scott Ackerman? Were you two vocally conjoined twins?
I have no idea who this person is.
That's why I didn't. Yeah, that's why I figured. Or did you pull some sort of Little Mermaid / Ursula spell, and now Scott is mute and married to a prince somewhere?
That's the part I really like.
Scott Ackerman, he runs his own podcast network, Earwolf Comedy Bang Bang.
Mr.
TV
Show.
He was on it for a little
Okay.
bit. Like he was a background guy and he
Gotcha.
wrote it for a bit.
I like Mr. Show.
Yes.
Yeah.
You should listen to his podcast if
Okay.
it's funny.
Apparently, I sound just like him.
Yeah, so we assure you,
Yeah. Apparently.
we assure you that Jeff is not Scott Ackerman.
No,
in disguise.
I wish he
be here.
was. Then I would just convince him to get Paul F. Tompkins or Jason Mantzoukas in this room.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Paul F. Tompkins.
yep.
But
Come to our kitchen, Paul F. Tompkins.
so, all right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up the episode.
As much as it can.
As much as it can. So, listeners, if you want to have your emails read on the show, feel free to send us emails. Our email address is emails@milehighgameguys.com. You can get a hold of us on Twitter @MHGameGuys. We post pictures of our board gaming stuff on Instagram @MileHighGameGuys. We're at facebook.com/MileHighGameGuys. And we have a board game guild for Mile High Game Guys. It's almost like we're the Mile High Game Guys or something.
Almost.
Or something.
And yeah, and if you're ever in Denver, drop a line, get in touch with us. One of us is usually free on any given weeknight and could meet up and play some games with you. So,
Yeah.
as always, thanks for listening. This has been another episode of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. And as always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And I'm Jarl Jeff.
We'll catch you guys later.
Yep, bye.
Bye. Adrian,
What?
how's our freezer beers? Coldish? Acceptable? We'll see.
Acceptable.
That was a good term for that.
Yeah.
Man, they felt cold on the outside, but I also know how heat transfer works.
Yeah.
And so the insides might not have been as cold as the
Yeah.
outside.
It's acceptable.